To be playing Sega Genesis with bros. Now I'm gaming with some folks on the other side the globe. Used to go through a label if you trying to blow. Now people got more.
Impact 1000 Part 2 aired on September the 21st, 2023. So this is the second part of their 1000 episode series. In other words, it's the 1001 episode. And it wasn't better than episode of 1000. It was slightly better, but not much better. Oh boy. News and notes first. It was noted that EC3 and Jeff Jarrett both went on the record and saying they weren't even contacted for this Impact 1000 deal, which is pretty sad, when you think about it. EC3 said, quote, "No, I wasn't contacted. Billy Corgan could really do anything that would help the brand identity and build up different things. As far as Impact, I have no idea. But no, I didn't get contacted, despite being the only person who went undefeated for 2+ years, has 2 world titles, and be the sweet, sweet nephew of one of the former owners, But I'm sure it was a really good show, which I'll never watch because I never watch any shows." Which is hilarious. Everybody's on their Dolph Ziggler, I don't watch this stuff kind of kick now, which is amazing. Wrestlers that don't watch wrestling, or wrestlers that hate wrestling. That's the new gimmick now. Jeff Jarrett responded by says he also did not get contacted. He says, "I get it. I totally understand. No, it didn't hurt my feelings. It really doesn't because I understand. I'm not sure that I agree with their line of thinking. Anyway, I said it over and over that there's 2 different brands. I think the Impact brand really became, as we said, Impact LOL. I think the TNA brand, not for everybody, but there was more success correlated with that. So bring back folks associated with that era. I think there's an upside to that in so many ways, but I get it. It's their call." So Jeff Jarrett thinks that, okay, they're trying to get away from the TNA era, which they're not, because they actually, play into the TNA era a lot. But he's saying that maybe they should bring in people from the TNA era more because there was more success in the TNA era, which is, I don't know if it's true or not, if we're being honest. Considering I think they got their highest ratings as in the Impact era, meaning when they changed their name. And when they went to the 4-sided ring rather than the 6-sided ring. But it's like I said last time I talked about Impact, I personally was more feeling like a throwback episode or a nostalgia episode of Impact Wrestling should include the 6-sided ring. So that's just me. I think definitely that Jared is probably right, that most people who watched TNA, or rather Impact Wrestling, are familiar with the TNA era, with the Fox Box, the Fox Sports Net, and the 6-sided ring, and the X Division, as opposed to the Impact Wrestling era, which got more ratings, but was revolved around Hogan and Bischoff, the Aces and Eights. What else? Being booted from Spike TV and ended up on Destination America or Pop TV for years and years, which kills the visibility of the company. So, and then of course, some of the scandals, they had them both in TNA and Impact, but some of the more recent ones, like, Billy Corgan and his issues with Impact, Matt Hardy and his issues with Impact, so there's still some things there, I guess, but I would imagine that if you're celebrating 1,000 episodes of Impact, it wouldn't be two separate brands, as Jeff Jarrett was saying. It would be one long lineage, which is what they seem to be going for, in so much as how they leaned into sort of the X Division part, which takes us into the first match, the Ultimate X. The winner gets a championship match, X Division title match at his choosing. Mike Bailey, Rich Swann, Ace Austin, Samurai Del Sol, aka Kalisto from WWE, Zachary Wentz, and the winner, Alan Angels of the Dark Order. Oh my God. Alan Angels. They call him the front man now. This match is what you expect, which is a lot of high-flying, choreographed offense. I wouldn't say, I'm more disappointed by the winner than by the match being booked or anything like that. The fact that you have all this attention and you decide to put the X on Alan Angels to tell people that Alan Angels is going to be wrestling Chris Sabin next week because you couldn't think of anybody else to put over. I don't know. I'm looking literally at anybody else. But I said that Impact needed new stars. I've said that Impact needed new talent. And now they're starting to try to push somebody. And I'm like, wait, not him. Like anybody but him. But I hate to be that guy, but I got to be that guy. Alan Angels, not the good move. Not a move. Not a move that I personally would have made. Alan Angels is now going by the front man. He's calling himself the front man. And he cut a promo after this match saying that the big X means that he's not just going to be the front man of whatever team he's a part of. Now, he's going to be the front man of all of Impact. And he's not going to wait. And he's going to challenge Chris Sabin for the X Division title next week. So we're going to go ahead and have Chris Sabin beat this guy. And, but you could have definitely showcased somebody else in this situation. I don't know. Speaking of showcase, Jake Something defeated Dirty Dango, who is still doing his "man, I hate pro wrestling" gimmick, and it's pretty funny. It's not as funny as it was because they stopped doing the vignettes, but it was pretty funny. For this match only, they had the Fox box, which was the Fox Sports Net box that they used to have at the top of their shows. Which showed that this match had a 10-minute time limit, which I wish another match on this show had a 10-minute time limit. Anyway, whatever. Jake Something wins. He should be a top prospect for them, but we'll see. I don't trust Impact to be able to grade talent properly. They put over Alan Angels. Next was Steve Maclin. He got cost a Feast or Fire briefcase last week by Rhino, who interfered in the match. And so he says that he guessed that Warrant Machine still got a little bit of life left in him. He didn't end his career, but now he's going to. And then he gets attacked by Rhino, and Rhino just kind of knocks him over. And, Steve Maclin, it sounds like he got hit by a car. Then Santino and Rhino starts arguing, and Rhino says, "I don't care about him. That man tried to end my career." I'm like, oh boy, Rhino's back. How many more pudgy ECW guys can we put on this show? How many more? Is Mikey Whipwreck not booked yet? You couldn't find Shane Douglas. I know Raven probably got a brain like a scrambled egg. He can't do anything. But how many more fat ECW guys do we need? This next thing was an immediate no-go for me. Eric Young versus Kenny King. That's how it started. Immediately, Diener and Khan jumped in to beat up on Eric Young. Afterwards, Scott D'Amore, or Shark Boy, came out there and made it an 8-man tag, where now is Team Canada and America's Most Wanted. So Team Canada consists of Eric Young and Scott D'Amore, along with James Storm and Chris Harris, versus Kenny King, Sheldon Jean, The Design. That would be Diener and Khan. And I'm not even going to hold you up. I was not interested. Not interested. There's too many people in this match I don't care about. All right. And then there was nothing on the line. There was nothing to be gained or lost. There was no angle that they could do that I would give a damn about. Unless, a landmine was going to blow up the ring and take out everybody in it. Even James Storm, who I'm a big fan of. Kenny King, who I kind of like. I was not going to stop what I was doing to watch this match. So I know Scott D'Amore and his team won. Eric Young ended up pinning Sheldon Jean, which seemed like a perfect setup. I don't remember Team Canada as fondly as everybody else seems to on this program. I remember being very annoyed by Team Canada, and I remember them not being all that over. And I also remember not really enjoying anything that involved Team Canada outside of Petey Williams and even Bobby Roode at the time. I didn't care about him. He was too generic. Generic Canadian heels. What is not of your Canadian baby faces? There's nothing like when you do a foreign heel, there should be something unique about the foreign country that gets your attention that you can play off of. Like Germans. Like Germans tend to be very strict, very brutal. Same thing with Russians. Like Germans and Russians, they tend to be, commies. They criticize America, that kind of stuff. Canadians could criticize America, but for mostly, the Canadians are your morally righteous cousins. That's why it worked for Bret Hart. Because Canadians think that they're better than Americans, but only so much as they have like universal health care, and stuff like that. And that's about it. Most Canadian culture is almost the same as American culture. It's not like British. British culture is known for being very snobbish. The same thing with the French. It's different. You play different parts of the culture differently, but Canada is too similar to the United States. So I never really got into the Canadian heel who's just Canadian. It's like, I don't know. But it is your know-it-all, kind of morally righteous cousin. But it's not completely, totally foreign to you, like Germans or Arabs or anything like that. All right, so they announced that Will Ospreay's opponent for Bound for Glory will be Speedball Mike Bailey. There was a match that was supposed to happen before, but it ended up getting canceled. So Mike Bailey is sitting backstage, and he's licking his wounds from losing the X match, Ultimate X, when Jonathan Gresham, who I forgot worked here, showed up. And Jonathan Gresham is bragging about being a former world champion and knowing how to become a world champion again by winning clean, decisive wrestling matches, which, he hasn't had one in a long time. So Mike Bailey challenged him to a match. And I think they've had like 100 matches so far. They've had like quite a few. They've had quite a few matches so far. But they're going to have another one, I guess, next week. I don't know. So they did the Feast or Fire results. It was supposed to be very dramatic. Of course, it doesn't get very dramatic when you save the Fired for last, because it couldn't be anything else. But the Feast or Fire results were hosted by Dave LaGreca of Busted Open Radio. I don't have a problem with that. Just how they did this was weird. So they asked each person, what did they hope to find in their briefcase? Can you believe that both... The first time, let's talk about the winners. The winner of the first case is Crazy Steve. The winner of the second case is Moose. The winner of the third case is Chris Bay. And the winner of the fourth case was Yuya Urimura. So they asked each person, what did they hope to find in their briefcase? Basically, are you going to get what you want out of this briefcase? Yuya Urimura, who is tag team partners with Joe Hendry, said that they wanted a tag team championship match. Now, Yuya Urimura is Japanese, and he's also kind of young. So him not wanting to be the world champion, weird, okay? Then we go to Chris Bay. Chris Bay says that he wants to be the tag team champions. He wants redemption because they lost the title to the Rascals, and they want them back. Okay, that's sensible, but you should still want to fight the world champion. That's just me. Then it was Moose. Moose also wanted to be a tag team champion. And I'm just like, why does 3 of the 4 people want to be the tag team champion? Nobody wants to be the fucking world champion in this situation. Okay. Crazy Steve said that he was hoping to find organs or intestines or whatever in his briefcase. I'm like, what the fuck? Nobody wants to be the world champion? Is that what we have been reduced to in Impact? That literally nobody wants a world title match? Nobody wants to be the world champion? How bizarre is that? You booked this. You booked this so that nobody in your entire field is interested in being world champion. Everybody's got a buddy that, oh yeah, I would rather be a tag team champion. What? Your tag team titles isn't like your main event of your pay-per-views or anything like that. This ain't Mexico. Why didn't these guys want to be world champion? None of them have aspirations to becoming the world champion. That's ridiculous, bro. I was like, yeah, this thing is off the rails. So they went numerical order. Crazy Steve got a digital media title match which I instantly laughed because who the fuck wants to watch Crazy Steve versus Tommy Dreamer? Nobody wants to watch that shit. Moose got the world title match, which he was happy with, even though it's not what he wanted, which is dumb because he should be thrilled because he gets to fight the world champion and become world champion again. Chris Bay got the tag team title match, which he was extremely happy with because that's what he wanted. And Yuya Uemura was fired. And it was a sad time that the very oddball Japanese guy got released. And they're going to do a goodbye ceremony for him the next week. Fine. Oh my God. A good way of doing this would have everybody open their briefcase at the same time. That way, the tension couldn't be cut. Like, it's one thing to do a tense moment, but if you do one at a time, you run the risk of the fired briefcase coming out early, in which case you've blown off the drama. Or if the fired briefcase comes out last, there is no drama because it couldn't be any other option. If you have everybody open it at the same time, then you can get all the reactions at once, and then everybody can be like, ooh, 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 ooh. You know, that's just an interesting way of doing it if you were going to go for a dramatic effect. It was very weird. But they fired the one guy that they could possibly fire, which is very brave of them. I don't know. Nobody wants to be world champion, though. That's the thing that's blowing my mind. The fourth match on the show, Trey Miguel versus Josh Alexander. Very solid match. Again, I'm not of the opinion that Josh Alexander is a top guy or that he should be, you know, I don't know. I don't like Josh Alexander that much. He's okay. I just don't like him in this position. Let's put it like that. If he was a solid mid-card guy, you know, X Division champion or something like that, occasional wrestle for the world title, I would not be upset. But this, you know, we're going to book him like he's a world beater. I'm just kind of like, nah, bruh. I'm not buying that one. Trey Miguel did a really cool top rope head scissor in this match. It was pretty sweet. They also did a nice little spot where Josh Alexander countered a Meteora with the ankle lock, which, you know, takes some level of choreography in order to do that, but it still came out pretty solid. Alex Shelley ended up blasting Zachary Wentz in the head with his belt, which is what led to Josh Alexander winning. Then they stared each other down a little bit. Josh Alexander and Shelley, I mean, the match is official for Bound for Glory. They're going to wrestle each other. That doesn't feel like the main event of the biggest pay-per-view that you could possibly do. Or your number one pay-per-view is Bound for Glory, and your main event is going to include Josh Alexander again? And you worried about where the brand's not growing? Man, they really should pay attention to these WWE releases and really, really, really make some phone calls. And if you got to dig a little bit deeper in the budget, please do. Because this Josh Alexander thing is not working. This old bloated ECW guys thing is not working. Next, John Skyler was backstage. And I remember who he is. I can't believe that. John Skyler is backstage. He's getting in the Rascal's face because they promised the Good Hands a World Tag Team title match if they helped them win the World Tag Team titles. And now ABC knows it because they were spying on them. So Chris Bay is taunting them with the briefcase that he's won. It doesn't matter that much, but the Rascals are not trying to give the Good Hands their title match. Instead, they ran off on them. So that's the story here. Okay. Rascals versus Austin and Bay is cool. The rest of this stuff, shrug. I don't know why we need the Good Hands. They're very generic. Very, very, very generic. All right, the main event, which was absurdly long. So long that I was skipping through it. The 10-woman tag, or the 10 knockouts tag. You got to put woman in quotations because of certain things going on here. Awesome Kong, Fail Gail Kim, Mickey James, the Mutant Jordan Grace, and Trinity versus Tasha Steelz, Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Angelina Love, and Deonna Purrazzo. I could not stomach this match. I didn't know this match was going to be so long. I just had no idea. I also had no idea that you were going to... I'm not going to say it. But the Jordan Grace Giselle Shaw thing is not lost on me. How you got a woman pumped up on male testosterone, and a man pumped up on estrogen in the same match. What on earth? I mean, two people with mutant voices for very different reasons. I guess the knockouts really takes all kinds. Anyway, Awesome Kong gets the win, and she ends up pinning somebody on this other team. I don't know who. I don't remember who. It don't matter. And they start doing Mickie James. The camera gets a little close on Mickie James as she's staring at Trinity's title, kind of leading to the idea that she wants to challenge Trinity for the Knockouts title. They didn't go that route in terms of having her cut a promo on her or anything like that, which would have been infinitely better. Instead, they had this really, really, really long match where Gail Kim, who was dressed like Vampirella for some reason, got pulled out of the ring and donked her big head on the floor. There's something about not wrestling for a long time that as soon as you get back in the ring, you get injured. I mean, Gail Kim hadn't had a match in a long time. And soon, the first time she really gets touched in these matches, she gets hurt. I mean, I give her credit for coming out of retirement for this match because Velvet Sky didn't. You know, Velvet Sky said, I'm retired. I ain't taking no bumps. She just stayed outside the ring. But Gail Kim was like, I'm retired, but I'll wrestle this one more match. Yeah, right. She got a concussion. Everybody saw the bump when she nodded her big head on the floor. But that's why I started calling her Fail Gail. You know, outside of the fact that Gail Kim only seems to get treated like a legend by Impact because she was trained by Scott D'Amore, who runs the company. I mean, talk about your nepotism. You could say the same thing for like Josh Alexander. You know, that's why I think the problem that needs to be rooted out is Scott D'Amore. You know, he needs to go. In any event, the women being the main event of the 1000th episode series is fine with me. Again, I said it last week. I don't care. It seemed that they really do care about the Impact, the knockouts, and all this kind of stuff, and the legacy of the knockouts, which of course began under TNA. That's fine. The issue I have with it is throwing everybody in one match, and then that match being super long. I just didn't care about that aspect of it. But they tried to showcase everybody from what it looks like the various different generations, and that's cool, I suppose. But I just was not interested in this. Wasn't too interested in it. So, again, missed opportunities. There should have been some cameos that didn't happen. Not just, Jeff Jarrett and EC3, but other people. You had America's Most Wanted and you put them in a nothing 8-man tag. Look, I get Chris Harris can't really go. And who the hell is going to watch Khan on his own? But there's just so much other stuff you could have done if you were going to do a nostalgia-based episode. Basing it around Scott D'Amore and his students. Like, Eric Young. Come on. And Gail Kim. Ugh. You're running people away from Impact at that point. People are trying to get the hell out of Impact at that point, bro. But maybe I'm just a hater of these guys. Maybe I need to cut them some slack. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys later.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.